All right, so let's talk a little bit about different ways to direct market here in Las Vegas. Of course, we have talked previously about first class mail and surface mail and email a little bit. Now let's actually sit down and go through the more specific aspects of each and some other alternatives. Let me give you an example, okay? This is from Uncle Nick's Pizza. He sends in a blog request concerning EDDM and the red plum, and I'll show you what each of those are a little bit later. But EDDM stands for Every Door Direct Mail by the United States Postal Service. And the red plum is now actually called Retail Me Not, and it is a way to have a private firm instead of the U.S. Postal Service do the work for you to get into every single mailbox on a particular mail route. So let's quickly go through this. Uncle Nick says, I'm looking for some input. First off, let me start by saying I'm currently doing 2,000 EDDM pieces a week via MailShark and have been happy with the results. My concern, however, is that there is no direct control as to when the pieces hit homes. They often hit on Tuesdays with the shared mail pieces like the red plum or Retail Me Not. Obviously, the big market on EDDMs is it's costlier, but you get an individual piece instead of being part of the red plum. But wouldn't that benefit go out the window when it's being included with the shared mail of the red plum? And when I personally get mine for the first time around, it was shoved in the middle of the red plum, so it was like I didn't really have my own piece. Now, Velocis, the company that does red plum, or now it's called Retail Me Not, has a product they call their wrap, which is the front page of the red plum, or the inside cover, or the back inside cover. When quoting their prices for my area, 75,000 homes for the full wrap, it comes out to approximately $1,150 for the front or back, or $770 for the inside, front or back. Now, while some of these homes are outside the area and it would still cost me about 15 times as much money, I could hit all 60,000 homes. With my EDM pieces, there are 9 times out of 10 being delivered the same day as shared mail. I have a great database with my point of sale and have recently and will consistently begin mailing to my database for new customers, 30, 60-day, and 90-day customers, as well as customer complaints and customers who haven't visited for a while. So in my eyes, I find it's very unlikely that I'm going to get 15 times more return on my EDM than I would on my EDM than I would get on Velocis. So I would think that the ROI would be equal, if not better, doing the red plum rather than doing the EDDM. Could anyone advise me their thoughts on this issue, or have experience using each of these versions? All right, so this is a fairly typical scenario where someone can either do EDDM or they can do the Retail Me Not red plum. Both of them are every day, hit every single door on a mail route. One is wrapped in with a bunch of other ads, the red plum. The other one is a freestanding flyer that you put in in the mail, and that, of course, is the EDDM. Well, the answer comes from Piper. Piper says, your response rate will be much, much lower with the Valpak than directly mail a card or menu. And the Valpak, she's also referring to red plum. For the Velocis type mailing, I can send 30,000 out for $400 and usually get 50 or 60 back. For a direct mail EDDM postcard, I can send out 5,000 for about $1,000 and get 200 back. The issue of when the pieces are hitting my local post office, I highly recommend them to people looking to do it, do an EDDM campaign. It probably isn't with your local post office. When you do an EDDM yourself and take them to the DDU, the post office offering the service to people, you will almost always hit the next day. I've done many EDDM mailings and and a permit DDU saturation mailings over the years, and I have never not hit the next day. And we're talking about hundreds of mailings. Your EDDM with MailShark is being entered at their local BMEU and then drop shipped to a DSCF, probably thousands of miles away. That's probably not the best way to do this. If you really want them to hit on a certain day, and I always do, it may be a good idea to drop them off yourself. All right, and even if I rag on the post office sometimes, but one thing I can tell you is that once mail hits the DDU, it's going to the customer's homes as fast as possible, because the DDU, which is like the local post office for that mailing route, that would mean, for instance, the post office for zip code 89074. So every zip code in town has its own mail point, and if I drop off flyers to a particular zip code post office, the post office wants to get those out of their post office the very next day. So, what are the possibilities for direct mail, that is a surface mail or flyer, to addresses in a particular zip code? Well, of course, there's first class mailing, there's regular mail, also referred to as marketing mail, and it used to be referred to as third class mail. There is every door direct mail. There is Valpax, which is the blue version of an envelope that has a bunch of ads in it. And then the Retail Me Not co-op mailer. There is email, and there are, of course, you could always phone every customer and do an outbound telemarketing campaign. So let's take a look at each. All right, let's start with first class mail. Well, first class mail is the gold standard. It has the highest response rate and the most expensive message. It's the most expensive way to deliver your mailer. For 5,000 mailers, the mailing cost is from $2,000 to $4,000 for a large envelope flat, depending on your pre-sorts, automated mail, etc. Also, NICSs are returned. This is a key benefit. A NICS is an undeliverable address. So if I have an address in my database that is not accurate, is an old address, or is an address that isn't formatted correctly, those will all be returned, so I know what kind of problems I have and how many NICSs I actually have. Finally, delivery day is virtually guaranteed with first class mail. Here's the typical first class mail prices. You can see that with automated mail, it ranges from 46 cents all the way down to 26 cents for a postcard. But for a regular piece of mail, it can go all the way from 46 cents all the way down to 39 cents. But still expensive per piece. Then, of course, we have regular mail, also called marketing mail today, and also third-class mail. These are the kinds of pieces of mail that you ordinarily would get in your mailbox. And, of course, this mail is what we used to refer to as junk mail, but you find today that there is very little junk mail out there today. All right, the benefit is that these are freestanding mailers to the people you want to send them to. For example, your own database. So regular mail or marketing mail has to have an individual address on it, and these get delivered to individual households. So you don't have to mail to all the households on a mail route, or you don't have you can decide exactly who is going to get each mailer because you are going to address each one with a very specific address. For 5,000 mailers, the cost is between $1,500 and $3,000 for a large envelope or flat, depending on your pre-source, automated mail, etc. But NICSs are not returned, so you don't really know how many bad addresses you have in the database. And of course, this is a bit of an issue. Delivery day is not guaranteed and depends on other traffic. This is low priority mail for the United States Postal Service. So in real busy times, this mail might not get delivered for a couple of days when it hits the post office. Here are some basic prices, and you'll notice that for basic automated mail that has been pre-sorted, the prices can go anywhere from 30 cents per piece all the way down to $1.80 to $1, and in fact, in some cases, 18, 19, 20 cents for each piece. So it's someplace typically in the range of 20 to 30 cents. Can be a little bit more if it's not machinable and if it's not automated. Okay, here's some flats. These are for commercial flats. These are big, large envelopes or oversized flyers, and you'll notice that that they have the EDDM rates in here, and then they also have the prices for marketing mail. And so the basic marketing mail is around 25 to 30 cents, where the EDDM is typically around 19 to 20 cents. So it's a 10 cents more per envelope if you are going to address them yourself and select exactly which households are going to get this mail. But in many cases, it might be worth it. Now, EDDM, Every Door Direct Mail. Every Door Direct Mail service lets you reach every home, every address, every time. You simply pick the neighborhood you want to target, and the postal carrier does the rest. This delivery service is offered by the post office, and so it is done by your mailman or mailwoman. The mail person will deliver your piece to every mailbox on a specific route. This is great for local retailers wanting each potential customer in a geographic area. It costs somewhere between 17 to 19 cents each for these pieces. One big benefit is that you don't need to rent a list. All right, since the pieces are not, because the pieces aren't addressed, but instead delivered to every mailbox on the route. So you can't select who's going to get the mail on the route, but then again, you don't have to pay the 7 or 8 cents for the names. Everyday direct mail is used to promote your small business in a local community. You can send postcards, menus, flyers, etc., etc. It's the benefits, of course, is that it's low cost. You can sometimes send as many as 5,000 envelopes for $950. Every address gets a mailer. This is perfect for geographically focused marketing campaigns. And there's an EDDM online tool that actually helps walk you through the process. And let's see how that actually works. So here's an example with Nick's Pizzeria. Nick's is located on the corner of Pecos and Windmill in Henderson. There's the little arrow. There's Nick's little place right on the corner of Windmill. It's actually on the southeast corner of Pecos and Windmill. All right, so Nick wants to send out an EDDM, and that is he wants to send out some sort of a mailer that includes a menu and a coupon to people who live around the restaurant, around the pizzeria. So he starts with mail routes, and he selects a mail route. Now, the first mail route he selects is a mail route that is right across the street from the restaurant and is single-family homes. Turns out that the average income for those homes is $90,000, with 25% of the population 25 to 44. The Postal Service will deliver a flyer to each of the 748 addresses in that area for $142.87, or 19.1 cents each. But Nick's going to need more than just 700, and so he has selected all of the mail routes around his restaurant. Okay, and once again, he's on Windmill and Pecos, and so these are all the ones that surround him. This is a total of 4,744 addresses. The total cost of the mailer will be $906.10. This doesn't include the cost of printing the mailer, just the cost of delivering it. And once again, this is 19 cents each. By the way, you might want to calculate the break-even response rate. If the deal is 2 pizzas for $20 with the cost of making them at $4 or at $4 each, or 2 for $8, that would mean that each coupon returned would have a $12 profit associated with it. Okay, so that's how the EDDM works, and it's real easy to walk your way through this process yourself. Now, everyday direct mailer is, you know, it can be done by yourself, or you can have a company handle the whole process for you. The good thing about EDDM is that it is simple enough that a small business owner can figure out how to do this themselves, and you probably then don't need a full direct marketing firm doing the work for you. All right, and so we have EDDM versus bulk mail, okay? And the benefit of EDDM is that it's every single mailbox, and you don't pay as much, and you don't have to buy a mailing list. So you don't have to worry about getting the right names and the right addresses on the mail. Another option would be Valpak, which is a co-op mailing. The Valpak is this blue envelope that you typically get in the mail. When you open the Valpak up, there will be 25 to 30 envelope-sized ads in the package. The package will always have a restaurant on the first one, so that you will open them up and start to at least go through these, because most people will keep the Valpak restaurant coupons because they offer something at a lower price. Okay, you know Valpak as the blue direct mail envelope that shows up in your mailbox once or twice a month. Valpak costs somewhere between 2.5 to 2.8 cents per delivered envelope. Of course, many of these are thrown away or unopened, and some are opened and bounced right away. That is, people look at 1 or 2 of them and then throw the whole envelope away. The response rate for this is around 2 to 0.3%. That is 2 to 3 respondents per 1,000 delivered offers. Now, obviously, it depends on what you're selling. If you're selling lawn furniture or landscaping services or artificial turf, the response rates go down. If you're a restaurant using Valpak, the response rate obviously then goes up. But this is one way to get into every home for 2.5 to 3 cents. Remember that the EDDM was 19 cents. And in this case, the 2.5 to 2.8 cents includes the printing. Then we have Retail Me Not co-op advertising, all right? And this is a handful of ads that you see showing up in your mailbox here in Las Vegas. They tend to show up every single Wednesday, but sometimes they show up on Tuesday, and sometimes they show up on Thursday. So Retail Me Not is a leading savings destination that influences purchase decisions through the power of savings, all right? They're dedicated to delivering innovative promotional media solutions, and this, of course, is the hype from their particular website and their explanation. You know them as the bundle of ads that show up in your mailbox every Tuesday or Wednesday. Typically includes grocery ads, and it costs about 6 to 9 cents to deliver pieces to customers this way. Many cities have local companies that compete with Retail Me Not, but here in Las Vegas, I don't know of any. So here's the inserts from the last 2 weeks of the local Retail Me Not. Of course, there was an ad for Albertsons, Smith's, Gardenias, and La Bonita. There used to be an ad every week for the Green Valley Grocery, now referred to as Sprouts, but during the pandemic, they quit using it, and they didn't find any dramatic loss in customers. Some others that typically might be in here might be Smart and Final, Ashley Furniture, Burger King does a lot of advertising in here. But it is other restaurants like Arby's and Jack in the Box and Carl's Jr. But there are other things that are also in here on some sort of regular basis. Both weeks' inserts cost about 4 ounce, so Retail Me Not was able to send it out for about 25 cents. Because they send this out in an EDDM fashion. So even if you just got an average of 5 cents per piece at 15 pieces, their revenues per delivered household would be 50 cents of profit. So in Clark County, there's around 1 million addresses. So that would be 50. So that would be 50 cents times 1 million, or $500,000 per mailing. So this is a great big business for the people who actually put this together and get it to the post office and then have the post office deliver it. All right, so here's a comparison of cost for sending a physical mailer. First class is obviously the most expensive. Regular, third class, or commercial is less expensive. EDM is even less expensive than that. But then Valpak and Retail Me Not is even less expensive than the EDDM. Now remember that Valpak and Retail Me Nots will both be delivered as a bundle of ads. And so yours, first off, the bundle has to be opened, and then people have to find your ad in that bundle. All right, so here's some more specific information about the costs associated with reaching Clark County residents. Valpak, 60,000 homes at $27.90 per thousand. 180,000 homes at $24.90 per thousand. So and so you can see how that would add up. So that would be, it can do 180,000 homes for $4,400. Seems like a good deal, except what? Well, obviously, not very many of these are going to be opened or returned. The Retail Me Not, formerly referred to as the Red Plum, has both the front and back covers of the actual wraparound that wraps all the ads together, and then the flyers, that is the individual ads that go in there, are called blow-ins, and you can do 60,000 blow-ins at $65 per thousand. And so this runs out to 6.5 cents or so each. Every door direct mail freestanding pieces, you know, the cost per thousand is around between $190 and $240, and then traditional marketing mail is $254. And so you can see this as it goes, as you go up and you have more individualized envelopes being delivered to very specific addresses, the price keeps going up. Okay, here are some other options though to consider. All right, if you don't like that, how about an RJ insert? You know, an RJ insert costs about 8 cents a piece. RJ ads we have the prices in here for RJ ads. Typical radio ads on our local radio station we have in here. We also have an advertisement on the Las Vegas local news shows and a Las Vegas area billboards. And so, as you can see, the cost of doing mass marketing in a non-direct way is very, very expensive, and you have very little control over who sees it and whether or not they actually respond to it. And so these are a way for you to compare direct marketing strategies or delivery methods to more mass marketing efforts. So what about email marketing? Well, of course, how much does email marketing cost? Well, email marketing costs will depend entirely on the number of subscribers you have, the number of total emails you send per month, and the email platform that you use. An average small business email marketing costs between $20 and $300 per month on email marketing, given that they manage their own campaign. If you use an email marketing agency, then your cost is probably going to be $500 a month or more. Some of the emailing software programs that you can buy and you do your own email marketing include, of course, Constant Contact, Sendinblue, Drip, ConvertKit, Aweber, GetResponse, and of course, for many of you, one that you're familiar with, MailChimp. All email software programs. And the benefit of using one of these programs is that it allows you to make sure that your email database is formatted, is maintained, all the analytics is set up for you to look at, and they are sent out in a way that they are not likely to get picked up into the spam filters. Because that, of course, is probably the biggest concern about sending out your own email ads, is that if you're not using one of these methods in one of these platforms, it's very likely that most of your emails will get hung up and caught into the spam filters of the individual emails that you're sending to. 3 basic email tips that we always tell people. First, use a professional email address. No Gmail addresses for your business. For example, our UNLV AMA club uses president@unlvama.com. It looks like we have our own email service. Of course, we don't, but that looks much more professional than UNLV AMA president@gmail.com. This looks much more professional and is much more likely to not only not get bounced and not get caught in the spam filters, but much more likely to be responded to. Send targeted emails based on interests. It's very important that you personalize your emails based on user segment. Constant Contact is something that always talks about email blasts. An email blast to all your customers doesn't make sense unless all of your customers are exactly alike. If you have segmented customers, that is, they buy particular products in particular categories, then it makes a lot more sense to send targeted emails based on interests. And then finally, you need to develop your own database that includes individual level purchase data so that you can do the best job possible of segmenting your database and sending relevant communications based on that individual level data. In conclusion, experiment with all of this and have fun. You can be a direct marketing database list management expert.